Welcome back to this really stupid series where I time how long it took cartoon characters to touch grass. Today I'll be taking a look at Ninjago, Masters of Spinjitzu. Once again, let's go over the rules. The timer begins as soon as the character appears on screen. The timer ends when we can confirm that the character is touching grass. If a character is revealed to have been touching grass in a previous shot, the previous shot is where the timer ends. We can use observations of the environment from different angles to determine if a character was touching grass or not if it is not made clear directly. The timer will pause if the character leaves the current scene, the scene shifts focus off that character, or the show cuts to a new scene where that character is not present. And the timer won't resume until the character is seen on screen again. A character's time will also pause if they are under some form of mind control. Even if a scene isn't focusing on a character, the timer will still run if they can be visually seen within the shot. In-universe video footage of a character counts towards their time, however photos do not. Theme songs, as well as dream or fantasy sequences, do not add to the timer. When it comes to Ninjago specifically, I don't think these two things need to be said, but YouTube comments can be pretty stupid, so 1. Touching grass while performing Spinjitzu is valid, and 2. While these videos usually only count the actual shows and not any other official content such as shorts, I feel it would be pretty wrong to not start off with the pilot episodes, despite Rise of the Snakes technically being the first episode of the show. There's also like a lot of characters in Ninjago, so if this video does well, I could definitely do a follow-up. But for now, here are the grass-touching contestants. Kai, Jay, Zane, Cole, Lloyd, Mia, Wu, Pixel, Misako, and Garmadon. Now let's jump up, kick back, whip around, and touch some grass. It took Kai a while to truly become the Master of Fire, however he wasted no time in mastering the element of grass touching. Kinda. See, he didn't voluntarily touch grass, he was forced onto it by Semukai, but grass touching is still grass touching, and he did it in 2 minutes and 4 seconds. Jay may be the Master of Lightning, but that doesn't mean he had lightning fast grass touching. There's really not much grass in the pilot episodes, especially Way of the Ninja, where Jay, Cole, and Zane aren't even in the same scene as any grass. King of Shadows has much more grass, but Jay doesn't really touch any of it at first. Only the dirt, trees, and the cold stone of the underworld. Thankfully, we don't need to go into the main show to find him touching grass, since at the end of King of Shadows, he jumps off Wisp onto grass, clocking in a time of 19 minutes and 29 seconds. That's really bad. This is so disappointing. Zane was always my favorite ninja. Ever since I was 8 years old, I loved this cool autistic ninjroid, but it takes him so long to touch grass. Not much to say about the pilot episodes. I thought he could be touching grass in this scene from King of Shadows, but no. Unlike Jay, he also does not touch grass at the end. So it's finally time to head on into the actual show. I don't think there's any grass to be found in Rise of the Snakes at all, so no grass touching here. But shortly into home, the Falcon shows up and tells Zane, "Alright bro, I need you to lock the fuck in," leading him away onto the grass, and coincidentally helps him find Lloyd's treehouse, but that's not important. What is important is that my goat Zane unfortunately took 38 minutes and 40 seconds to touch grass. Now, you'd think the Master of Earth would be an expert at touching the very thing that covers Earth. But nope, again, no grass touching anywhere as they collect the first 3 golden weapons. Like Zane, I thought he might have been touching grass in his sleep, but then this angle shows that wasn't the case. The underworld, of course, has no grass, and once again he gets incredibly close to touching grass. God damn it, Cole, come on! So let's head into the main show. Again, no grass to be found in Rise of the Snakes. He gets kinda lucky, I guess, when Scales hypnotizes him, but this only takes a few seconds off his time. So let's take a look at home. His timer pauses when the scene transitions from the group to just Zane, and after Zane's own grass-touching adventure, he decides to get Cole in on the action. And I guess he brought Kai and Jay along so they could take down Lloyd and the Hypnobrai, but Cole's grass-touching was the priority. Unfortunately, Cole just wasted so much time. He had so many easy opportunities, but instead instead ended up with a grass touching time of 40 minutes and 23 seconds. Lloyd Montgomery Garmadon. Oh boy. Now at first, you'd think the legendary Green Ninja would easily take first place in a grass touching tournament, but sadly, no. As we all know, he started off villainous. He hated grass so much that he unleashed the Hypnobri for the sole purpose of carrying him over the grass so that he didn't need to touch it. I thought he might have touched some grass outside the Fangpire tomb, but after rewatching the scene, yeah no, I was just misremembering this. Young Garmadon would continue to travel to the grassless areas of Ninjago, like Ed and Edna's junkyard and the Anacondrae tomb. Now, the episode title, Never Trust a Snake, is kind of misleading. Sure, both the Hypnobri and Fangpire turned on Lloyd, and Pythor is no different. But there was one case where he could actually be trusted. Lloyd could trust him to get a faster grass touching time. So I guess he wasn't so anti-grass after all. Lloyd started out pretty bad, but still managed to get a lower time than most of the other ninja, locking in a grass touching time of 18 minutes and 9 seconds. Like her brother, Nia is quick to master the element of grass touching. However, water is much friendlier to grass than fire. She easily flows onto the grass behind Kai's back in just 43 seconds. For those properly keeping track of this series, you'll remember that in Dead End Paranormal Park, Gord also scored 43 seconds. So let's check out their frames, convert them to decimals. Nia scores 43.4 seconds. Gord technically scores 43.08 seconds, but since I'm keeping these to just one decimal point for now, his score will still read as 43 seconds on the big leaderboard. Old he may be, Master Wu is still an incredible grass toucher. He spinjitsus around the grass outside of 4 weapons as he battles Samukai, but wastes no time in saving Kai, bringing them both onto the grass and locking in his time at a fantastic 1 minute and 15 seconds. Unlike her boyfriend, Pixel actually did very well. First appearing in the season 3 premiere The Surge, she would quickly be taken over by the Overlord, pausing her time. This also unfortunately means that this scene in The Art of the Silent Fist does not count as her touching grass. Zane was kind of a dick to her by not restoring her with the Technoblade while she was on grass. Like, come on man, I thought you were cool. It still wouldn't take her long to touch grass though. After she fixes up Zane, the ninja arrive at the power station, and it's hard to tell at first because of the lighting, but I am confident that this is grass. This earlier shot under different lighting of an area not too far away is obviously grass, so I'm confident in giving Pixel a grass touching time of just 3 minutes and 42 seconds. Misako did really bad. Like really bad. She didn't leave the museum at all during the Stone Army, and then completely ruins her chances of getting a good time. She never touches grass in the day Ninjago stood still, which would be her last chance for a while. The Last Voyage obviously has no grass whatsoever, and the Dark Island probably had grass originally, but at some point after the first Spinjitzu Master split it and Ninjago apart, the Overlord seems to have found a way to eliminate all grass. So we go through Island of Darkness, The Last Hope, and Return of the Overlord with absolutely nothing. Rise of the Spinjitzu Master doesn't fare much better. She does return to Ninjago City with everyone else, but once again, she doesn't touch any grass. After this, the show was meant to end, but then Wilfilm and Lego realized Misako never touched grass, so they got very busy rebooting the series for the sole purpose of rectifying this grave error. And with her newfound opportunity, Misako would finally lock in. The Surge begins with a flashback where we see her, Lloyd, and Garmadon walking together towards the others, something that we didn't get to see in Rise's Spinjitzu Master, so a few more seconds get added to her time. No time is added when she's seen in Wu's memories during The Art of the Silent Fist, since these were events that we had already seen. She would make her first proper appearance in Season 3 later on in this episode, where we can clearly see she is walking all over that grass, with a final and awful grass touching time just under an hour of 59 minutes and 59 seconds. Garmadon starts off by bending my rules a bit to give himself a better time. Since I've established that the timer starts when a character appears on screen, his conversation with Samukai at the end of Way of the Ninja does not count, since he doesn't actually appear visually. And while I also do not count shadows appearing as a character appearing on screen, the fact that his shadow in King of Shadows is able to physically interact with the world, I'm deciding this counts. His timer is now running, but he still doesn't really do anything in King of Shadows. He kinda just sits back, watches Samukai kill himself, and then jumps into the portal. So we move on to the actual show. In Season 1, Episode 7, TikTok, Master Wu tells the ninja a story of the time his brother touched grass. Oh yeah, and he also got bitten by the Great Devourer, which made him go evil and whatever, but who cares about that when Garmadon touched grass in just 5 minutes and 25 seconds. For the first time in this series, we have a cast of characters with nobody touching grass immediately and nobody who never touches grass. There's over 100 characters on this leaderboard now, oh my god, and there's only gonna be more added. Join me next time on the Touching Grass series, where we'll take a trip to the totally normal and not weird town of Gravity Falls, Oregon. My name's Dr. Lummington, like and subscribe to make me smile, and I will see you later.